So this is paper 1 of 3, the higher tier non-calculator from May 2020. What I'm going to do is I'm going to split the video into 3 parts. So I'm going to do one part, the first few questions, the second video will be the middle, and then the last video will be the end, covering all 80 questions. What I would suggest you do is maybe go and download the paper. You can get it from many places. Maths Genie is a great website. Have a go at it, and then you can have a little look at the questions that we go over. Let's start this. The first few questions that we do, these should be the questions where you're getting them early marks in, the nice easy questions. So let's have a go. So the first question is talking about an arithmetic sequence, and we need to write an expression in terms of n for the nth term. So basically what that means is it wants you to write an equation when you substitute in 1, 2, 3, 4, because they're the term numbers. You will get the answers 1, 4, 7, 10 and 13 out. So I'll show you one way how we do that. So the first thing we want to do is work out what is the actual difference, which in this case it is plus 3. So that is letting us know that the nth term includes 3n. So if I actually substitute 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in, it would produce the 3 times table, because 3 times 1 is 3. And you get 6, 9, 12, and so on. But I don't want 3, 6, 9, 12. I want 1, 4, 7, and 10. So what we're going to do here is, I want to know, how do I go from the 3 times table to the actual sequence? And the pattern should be the same each time. So 3 to 1 is minus 2, 6 to 4 is minus 2, 9 to 7 is minus 2, and so on. That's how you can check if you've done it right. So that means the rule is 3n subtract 2. So that is the nth term for this question. You can try it, substitute 1 in, you should get the answer is 1. Substitute 2 in, you should get the answer is 4. Right, the next question is a fraction. It says show that 2 1/3 times 3 3/4 is 8 3/4. So multiplying fractions is usually the easiest one. The only thing we have to do in this question is change it to the mixed number into an improper fraction. So we times by the top and we add the bottom. So 2 times 3 is 6, add 1 is 7. So the numerator is 7, the denominator stays as 3. And I'm going to multiply that by 3 times 4, which is 12, and then add 3 at the top, that should be an add, is going to give me 15, and that's going to be 15 over 4. So you can either times them together, get big numbers and simplify them. But a real good way, easy way to do this is have a look at the denominator and the numerators and see if there's any, and we can simplify straight away. Well, here, I know 3 goes into 3 and 15, it goes in once, it goes in 5 times. They're just simplifying it before the last step. So here if I look, 7 times by 5 is 35, and 1 times by 4 is just 4. So now I have to show that 35 over 4 is 8 and 3 over 4. Well, 4 goes into 35 8 times, so there's my 8, but then I have a remainder of 3, because my next number will be 36, which that's when it will go to 9. So that's the first 2 questions with 5 marks. Nice easy marks there. Right, this next question is a graph. So if you're not sure on your graphs, a good way to do this is use the elimination method. So eliminate some of the graphs. So hopefully you definitely know what x squared looks like, so what that quadratic graph looks like, and that is usually what looks like the u. So I know that this y equals x squared is d. So don't need that one anymore. Then if you look, we have 2 graphs where one of them is negative x cubed and one of them is x cubed. So if you look, 2 of the graphs should be quite similar, but one should be a reflection of the other, which is b and c. So that leaves me with the last one is going to be a. So this is just by using the elimination method. Now I have to decide which one is x cubed and which one is negative x cubed. Again, a little tip to do this is maybe substitute a number in and see what you get. So for example, if I start with x cubed, okay, don't know which one it is, but I know, let's say that I'm going to pick the number 2, pick it on both graphs. One of them's going to give me a positive number, one of them should give me a negative number. So I know that 2 times 2 times 2 is going to give me 8. If it was negative, so it's telling me negative x, I am going to have 2 times 2 times 2, but because it's negative, it's going to give me negative 8. So see how when it's just x cubed, my answer is 8, and I get a positive number. So that is going to go with graph C, and then that last one is B. Right, the next question is congruent triangles. So it's only worth 1 mark, this question, so you shouldn't be having to go into too much detail of trying to find angles and sides. So if we look at just on the angles for now, can I work out any of the missing angles? So if I go to triangle A, I know 2 of the angles, and I know angles in a triangle add to 180 degrees. So I know that this angle here is 80. The second question, I only have 1 angle. The third question, I only have 1 angle, it's triangle, sorry. And then the last triangle, again, I have 2 of them. So I know I can work out the last one, which is going to be 55. Looking at the rest of the triangles, there's not much else I can do with them. So the only 2 triangles that we know all the angles is A and D. But just to double check, the one side we do know, if you look here, 10 is in between 55 and 45, so make sure that they're corresponding. So in this question, 10 is in between 45 and 55. So triangle A and triangle D, they are my 2 congruent triangles. Right, question 5 then, we have Sean pays £10 for 24 chocolate bars. So we sold all of them at 50p each. We have to work out our percentage profit. There's many ways to do percentage profit, it just depends how you've been taught. So what I'm going to do for this question is first, I need to work out how much he actually makes from this. So that is going to be 24 times by 50p, and he is going to make £12. So you can see straight away that he's making a £2 profit, but it doesn't want to know that, it wants to know what is the percentage profit. So how I'm going to do this, again, there's 2 ways you can do this question. So the first way I'm going to do this question is I'm going to say, okay, the final answer, which is 12, or the final amount that he gets, and I'm going to divide that by the original, and then times it by 100 to change that into a percentage. Well, 1.2, because 12 divided by 10 is 1.2, times by 100 is going to give me 120%. So I know that it's 120%, so what I'm going to do now is, I need to work out the percentage increase. Well, we all know we start at 100%, so the £10 is 100%. I'm going to take away, and we are left with 20%, and that is the percentage profit for this question. Again, there's many ways to do the question. You could have worked it out just with the £2 profit, but it just depends how you think about percentages yourself. Right, this question, we have some angles. We have a triangle, we have a large triangle. There's many ways that we can do this question. It depends what it asks. I could fill in all the angles in this question if I wanted to. It just depends how you look at the question. So the question is asking me to find the angle AEAB, which is this angle at the top. So EAB. You can either work out the angles in the small triangle or the angles in the large triangle. It just depends, again, how you look at it. We could go straight away and work out all the missing angles. So for example, I know this angle here is 63 degrees. Because it's corresponding, we have them parallel lines. So this angle and this angle is corresponding. So I know that BEA is 63 degrees, and that is because they are corresponding. Sorry about that, but you can hear it. So corresponding angles are equal. Okay, so I know that angle. This angle here, okay, because then I can look at that top triangle. Well, I know angles on a straight line add to 180 degrees. So if I take away that 48, I am going to be left with 32 degrees. So this is 32. So I know that the angle ABE is 32 degrees, and that's because angles on a straight line add to 180 degrees. Then that is going to let me work out what that top angle is, because I know angles in a triangle add to 180 degrees. So I know that 180 minus 63 minus 32 is going to give me 85 degrees. So we know that EAB is 85 degrees, and that is because angles in a triangle add to 180 degrees. So again, many ways to do that question. That is just one of them. Right, nearly there. I'm going to do 2 more questions for this video. Right, so the next question, we have some data. We have the height of year 9 girls, but it only gave us the least, the greatest, and the median. Then it gave me a stem and leaf diagram about 15 year 9 boys, and we had to we'll compare the distribution between the two. Well, because it only gave me the highest and the lowest, straight away I know that I should then be working out the range for the girls, which is the highest value minus the lowest value, which in this case is going to be 20. And it's already told me the median, which is a way of measuring the average. I have to find this out from the stem and leaf diagram. So because there's 15 boys, the middle number is going to be 8. So you add 1 divided by 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the median for this question, for the boys, is 168. So don't forget about that one, 6. And then the range is going to be the highest, take the lowest. So the range is 182, and I'm going to minus 158. So my answer for that question is 24. So now what I'm going to do is I have to compare the two. So let's look at the median. You can clearly see that the median is higher for the boys. So it's 168. So I can say, okay, so on average, so the boys are taller on average because the median is higher. And then if you look at the range, the boys' range is also higher. So the boys' data is more spread out. It's spread out over a larger numbers. So the boys' data is more spread out because the range is greater. Okay, so when you're comparing distribution, always look at maybe the average, which is the median or the mean, and then the range or the interquartile range, depending what you've been given. Right, we'll do one more question then. We're going to have a little look at question 8. So this question is talking about pressure, force and area. So it gave us the formula in the corner, so we're going to be using that formula. And it's asking me to work out the force of this prism on the floor. So the information it's gave me is the height, it's gave me the volume of the prism, and it's gave me the pressure. So if we look at the formula, I am looking for the force. I know the pressure, which is 75, but I need to work out the area of that face at the bottom. Well, I know I'm working out the volume of a prism. Volume equals the area of the cross section times by the height. So in this question, it's told me the volume. Don't know what the area is of the cross section, but I know the height is 3. So that means 18 over 3, which is 6, is going to give me the area. And that is the missing number that I needed for the formula. So if I go over here now, I know that the pressure, which is 75, equals force over the area, which I've just worked out is 6. So 75 times by 6 is going to give me the force. Again, it is a non-calculator. Shouldn't be too hard. You can either use long division, 5 and 6, but your answer for this question should be 450. Right, so that is part 1. I have done the first 8 questions. And then part 2, we'll do the next couple of questions.